The warning alarms screamed through the bridge of Earth Defense Station Prometheus. Commander Rebecca Torres gripped the edge of her console as the sensor displays lit up with red markers. 300 alien warships had just emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. The Galactic Council had finally come, and they had brought an armada. Rebecca watched the main view screen as the alien fleet formed a perfect blockade around Earth. Each ship was larger than anything humanity had ever built. Their weapon ports glowed with charged energy ready to fire. The largest vessel, a massive dreadnought belonging to the Council's high command, moved to the front of the formation. Its hull was covered in strange symbols that seemed to pulse with threat. A transmission burst through every channel simultaneously. The face that appeared on the screen belonged to High Commander Vorn, leader of the Council fleet. His species had 4 eyes and skin that shifted colors with emotion. Right now it was deep red, the color of rage. "Humans of Earth," Vorn's voice echoed through the bridge. "You have violated galactic law by establishing unauthorized colonies beyond your system. You have 30 of your minutes to transmit the coordinates of all human settlements. Refuse, and we will demonstrate why 600 civilizations kneel before the Council." The transmission cut off. Rebecca looked around at her crew. Everyone was pale and silent. Earth had only 15 warships, 15 against 300. The math was simple and brutal. "Ma'am," Lieutenant David Palmer called out from the tactical station. "They're charging weapons. All of them." Rebecca opened a channel to Earth's Defense Command. "This is Torres. We need those ships up here now. Commander, our fleet is still 2 hours away," the voice crackled back. "We weren't expecting them this soon." 2 hours. Earth didn't have 2 hours. Rebecca knew what would happen next. The Council would fire on the station first, killing everyone aboard as a warning. Then they would start on Earth's cities. They had done it to 12 other species who refused to surrender. She was about to give the evacuation order when every sensor on the bridge went insane. A new contact had appeared at the extreme edge of the solar system. The computer couldn't identify it. The mass readings made no sense. The energy signature was unlike anything in any database. "What is that?" David whispered. On the view screen, something emerged from the darkness of space. A ship. But calling it a ship felt wrong. It was enormous, bigger than the Council dreadnought, bigger than anything that should be able to move. Its hull was pure black, not painted black, but a darkness that seemed to absorb all light that touched it. No windows, no visible engines, no markings. The alien fleet had seen it too. The Council ships broke formation, turning their weapons toward this new arrival. Rebecca watched in stunned silence as the mysterious vessel accelerated toward Earth at speeds that should have been impossible. It crossed millions of kilometers in seconds. The Council fleet fired. Hundreds of missiles streaked through space. Energy beams powerful enough to cut through mountains lanced toward the black ship. Rebecca held her breath, waiting for the explosion. Nothing happened. The missiles simply vanished as they got close, as if they had never existed. The energy beams curved away, bending around the ship like water around a stone. The vessel didn't slow down. It didn't even seem to notice the attack. Then it stopped, dead in space, perfectly positioned between Earth and the Council armada. For a moment, nothing happened. The black ship just hung there, silent and still. Every system on the Prometheus failed. Lights flickered and died. Life support stuttered. Even Rebecca's handheld display went dark. Through the view screen, she could see the same thing happening to the Council fleet. 300 warships, each one a masterpiece of alien technology, were floating dead in space. The black ship pulsed once. A wave of energy rippled outward, visible even to the naked eye. When it touched Rebecca, she felt something in her mind. Words that weren't spoken aloud but appeared directly in her thoughts. In perfect English, "Who dares board the Void Reaper?" The same message was appearing on every ship, Rebecca realized. In every language, the Council crews were receiving it in their own tongues. The ship was speaking to everyone at once, directly into their minds. She watched as the Council fleet began to retreat. Ships struggled to restart their engines, desperately fleeing from the black vessel. High Commander Vorn's dreadnought was the first to jump away, followed by the rest of the armada. Within minutes, all 300 ships had vanished, leaving Earth behind. Their attack forgotten, their ultimatum abandoned. The Prometheus systems came back online slowly. Rebecca immediately pulled up everything the station's sensors had recorded about the black ship. What she found made her blood run cold. The computer had identified the vessel by matching it to ancient records, legends that most species thought were just stories to frighten children. The Void Reaper, a ghost ship that wandered the galaxy for thousands of years. According to the files, it appeared without warning and destroyed entire civilizations. Every species that had tried to board it had died. The Council had attempted to capture it 17 times across the centuries. 17 times they had failed, losing thousands of warriors and scientists. Now it was here, at Earth, and it was waiting. A second transmission hit Rebecca's console. This one was different, directed only at human receivers. The message was simple and terrifying. Send one. Come alone. Prove yourselves worthy, or join the others in the void. Rebecca stared at the black ship through the view screen. Around it, she could now see debris. Thousands of pieces of wreckage from ships that had tried to approach it over the millennia. The Void Reaper had been killing for 10,000 years, and now it wanted a human to board it. Earth's government would never allow it. The Council would warn them to stay away. Every logical choice said to ignore the ship and hope it left. But Rebecca saw something else. An opportunity. The Council had come to enslave humanity, and they had fled in terror from this ship. If Earth could somehow survive an encounter with the Void Reaper, if they could prove themselves to it, maybe they would gain the one thing humanity desperately needed: power. Real power. The kind that made empires flee. Rebecca made her decision. She would board the Void Reaper or she would die trying. Rebecca Torres stood in the shuttle bay, her hand on the airlock door. Behind her, 20 armed security officers had their weapons raised. In front of her, on every screen in the bay, the face of Earth's President Marcus Webb stared at her with barely controlled fury. "Commander Torres, I am ordering you to stand down," Webb said. "You do not have authorization to approach that vessel. If you attempt to leave this station, you will be court-martialed." Rebecca didn't move. Through the bay windows, she could see the Void Reaper hanging in space like a wound in reality. The black ship had been waiting for 6 hours now. Every minute that passed, Earth's military grew more nervous. The Council had sent 3 emergency transmissions warning humanity not to approach the vessel. They claimed it would doom Earth. They claimed it would destroy the solar system. But Rebecca had read the old records more carefully than anyone else. The Void Reaper never attacked first. It waited. It always waited for someone to come to it. And every species that sent their warriors had died. Yes, but they had died inside the ship, not outside. The ship was testing them, not simply killing them. "Sir, with respect, the ship asked for someone," Rebecca said calmly. "If we don't send anyone, we look weak. The Council will return, and next time they'll bring more ships. This is our only chance." "It's suicide," Webb snapped. "I won't authorize it." Rebecca pressed the airlock button. The door hissed open. "Then I'm going without authorization." She stepped into the small shuttle before anyone could stop her. The security officers ran forward, but she sealed the door and fired up the engines. Within seconds, she was launching into space, leaving the Prometheus behind. She could hear Webb shouting orders, but she had already cut communications. The shuttle felt impossibly small as it approached the Void Reaper. Rebecca could see the wreckage now, floating around the black ship like a graveyard. Thousands of alien vessels from species she had never heard of. Some were ancient, so old they had broken apart into dust. Others looked recent, their hulls still intact but empty. Every single one had failed whatever test the ship had given them. As Rebecca drew closer, the Void Reaper opened. A section of its hull simply peeled away, revealing a docking bay that glowed with a sickly purple light. Rebecca guided her shuttle inside, her hands shaking on the controls. The moment she crossed the threshold, the hull sealed behind her with a sound like thunder. She was trapped. Rebecca put on her emergency suit and stepped out of the shuttle. The air was breathable, her suit sensors confirmed, but cold. Far colder than any ship should be. The docking bay was massive, easily large enough to hold 100 shuttles, but hers was the only vessel inside. The walls were smooth and black, made of a material that seemed to shift and move when she wasn't looking directly at it. A corridor opened in front of her. Rebecca walked forward because there was no other choice. The passage twisted and turned, never quite straight, and she had the disturbing feeling that it was changing behind her. When she looked back, the way she had come seemed different than she remembered. Then she found the first body. An alien warrior, tall and covered in scales, frozen in the middle of the corridor. Its face was locked in an expression of pure terror. Rebecca moved past it carefully. Around the next corner, she found more. Dozens of bodies from different species, all preserved perfectly in the freezing air. Some looked like they had been torn apart. Others simply looked like they had stopped living. No wounds, no damage, just death. Rebecca's breathing echoed in her helmet. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, and she stopped walking. In the center of the room floated a sphere of absolute darkness. It was darker than the ship's hull, darker than space itself. Tendrils of energy reached out from it, writhing like living things. A voice filled her mind, so powerful it made her stumble. Another one, another failure. Rebecca steadied herself. "I'm not here to fail." "They all say that," the voice said. It was neither male nor female, neither young nor old. It simply was. "They all believe they are special. They all die. Then why keep testing?" Rebecca asked. "Why wait for thousands of years if you already know everyone will fail?" The sphere pulsed. The tendrils of energy pulled back slightly. "Show me why you should live." The world around Rebecca changed. The chamber vanished, replaced by visions that filled her mind. She saw civilizations rising and falling. She saw the ship itself being built by creatures of pure light, being so advanced they could shape reality itself. The architects, the voice called them. They had created the Void Reaper as a final gift to the galaxy, a test to find a species worthy of their legacy. But species after species had proven unworthy. They saw the ship as a weapon to conquer their enemies. They saw it as a tool to rule the galaxy. They came with greed and ambition and the desire for power. The ship killed them all because that was what it was designed to do, eliminate those who would use the architect's gift for destruction. The vision shifted. Rebecca saw humanity's history, every war, every massacre, every moment of cruelty and violence. The ship was showing her why humans should die, why they were no different from all the others who had failed. Rebecca felt the weight of 10,000 years of death pressing down on her. The ship expected her to break now, to beg for mercy, to show weakness like all the others. Instead, she laughed, not from joy, but from recognition. "You're right," she said. "We've done terrible things. We've killed each other for reasons so stupid they'd be funny if they weren't so tragic." The sphere flared with surprise. No one had ever agreed with their own condemnation before. "But we also do something else," Rebecca continued. She focused on different memories. A soldier sharing food with an enemy. Scientists from warring nations working together to cure diseases. Humans sacrificing themselves to save strangers. We learn, we grow, we become better. Not perfect, never perfect, but better. The ship's presence in her mind intensified, digging deeper into her memories. Rebecca let it look. She showed it everything, the good and the bad together. She didn't hide humanity's sins, and she didn't exaggerate their virtues. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Void Reaper hesitated. Then alarms shrieked through the ship. Rebecca staggered as the visions vanished. Through the ship's senses, she could suddenly see outside. The Council fleet had returned. Not 300 ships this time, but 5,000. They surrounded the Void Reaper in a sphere of firepower that could crack a planet in half. High Commander Vorn's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Attention, human vessel. You have 30 seconds to evacuate before we destroy the Void Reaper. The Council has voted. This ship is too dangerous to exist. They would rather destroy it than let humanity have it." Rebecca realized with cold certainty that Earth was in the blast zone. When the Council fired, both the ship and her homeworld would die. The Council's superweapon began to charge. Rebecca could feel it through the Void Reaper's sensors, a massive accumulation of energy that made the space around it distort and shimmer. The weapon was mounted on the largest ship she had ever seen, a mobile fortress that had jumped in with the fleet. According to the data flowing through her mind from the ship, that weapon had destroyed 3 planets in the last century. Now it was aimed at Earth. High Commander Vorn's countdown continued. 20 seconds. 19, 18. Rebecca stood in the chamber, facing the sphere of darkness that was the Void Reaper's core. The ship's presence filled her mind, but it still hadn't made a decision. It was waiting. Testing. The ship could destroy the Council fleet in seconds. She could feel that power thrumming through the walls. But it wouldn't act until Rebecca gave it a reason. "What would you do with my power?" the voice demanded. The others would wage war. They would conquer. They would rule. "What makes you different?" 10 seconds, Vorn announced. 9, 8. Rebecca looked at the sphere and realized the truth. This was the real test. Every other species had seen the Void Reaper as a weapon, a tool to dominate their enemies. The ship had killed them not because they were weak, but because they were predictable. They all wanted the same thing, power to crush those who opposed them. 7, 6, 5. Through the ship's awareness, Rebecca could see Earth, her home. 3 billion people who had no idea they were about to die. She could save them. One word to the Void Reaper, one command, and it would erase the Council fleet from existence. Vorn and his 5,000 ships would become dust. 4, 3. The temptation was overwhelming. These aliens had tried to enslave humanity. Now they were going to murder an entire planet to prevent humans from becoming powerful. They deserved destruction. Justice demanded it. 2. "I don't want your power," Rebecca said quietly. "I want your help." The sphere flared brilliant white. "Explain." 1. Fire. The Council's weapon discharged. A beam of pure energy, wide enough to swallow a city, tore through space toward the Void Reaper. Rebecca watched it come, her enhanced perception making every millisecond stretch into eternity. The beam would hit in 3 seconds. It would punch through the Void Reaper's hull, through her body, and continue on to Earth. The planet would crack open like an egg. Rebecca spoke faster than she had ever spoken in her life. "Humanity isn't the strongest. We're not the smartest. We're new to this galaxy and everyone sees us as either slaves or threats. But we survive because we adapt. We cooperate. We find solutions instead of just destroying problems. 2 seconds until impact." "You're not a weapon," Rebecca continued. "The architects didn't build you to kill. They built you to find someone worthy of partnership. Every species that came here saw you as a tool. I'm offering you something different. A partner. An equal." 1 second, the Void Reaper moved. For the first time in 1,000 years, the ancient ship acted not in judgment, but in defense. The energy beam struck an invisible barrier and simply stopped, held in place by forces Rebecca couldn't understand. The beam struggled against the barrier like a living thing, but it couldn't move forward, couldn't reach Earth. Then the Void Reaper did something that made the entire Council fleet freeze in terror. It reached out to every ship simultaneously, not with weapons, not with destruction. It simply touched their systems and turned off everything related to war. Weapons failed across 5,000 ships. Targeting computers went dark. Missile bays locked. Energy reserves drained into empty space, but life support remained. Engines still worked. Communication stayed online. The Void Reaper had taken away their ability to fight while leaving them alive. The Council fleet floated helplessly, waiting for death. Commanders across 100 species prepared final messages to their families. They had failed. Now the legendary ghost ship would do what it always did. Kill everyone. Nothing happened. Minutes passed. The Void Reaper simply held position between Earth and the disabled fleet. Not attacking. Not threatening. Just waiting. Rebecca felt warmth spreading through her mind. The ship's voice, when it spoke, sounded different. Almost pleased. "You are the first to see me as more than a weapon. The first to offer partnership instead of demanding servitude. But can you prove that humanity will keep this promise?" The sphere began to change, reshaping itself into something almost human-sized. Energy tendrils reached toward Rebecca, and she understood what was being offered. A bond, a permanent connection between human and ship. The Void Reaper would give Earth access to technology beyond imagination, knowledge that could change humanity's place in the galaxy. But there was a price. Rebecca would become the ship's link to humanity, its conscience. Where the ship went, she would go. She would live as long as the ship lived, potentially thousands of years, watching everyone she knew age and die. And if humanity ever betrayed the partnership, if they ever tried to use the Void Reaper purely as a weapon of conquest, the ship would know through her. It would leave, taking all its gifts with it. "You'll be alone," the voice said gently. Neither fully human nor fully machine. You'll watch centuries pass. Everyone you love will become dust. Is partnership worth that price? Rebecca thought about Earth, about the people there who would never know how close they came to destruction, about humanity's chance to prove they could be better than the galaxy expected, about the opportunity to show that humans weren't just another species seeking dominance. She stepped forward and placed her hand on the sphere. Yes, the bonding began, and Rebecca screamed. Knowledge poured into her mind like molten metal. She saw the rise and fall of civilizations. She understood mathematics that wouldn't be discovered for millennia. She felt the weight of 10,000 years of memory, of watching species after species fail the test. The pain was indescribable, like every nerve in her body was being rewritten. When it finally ended, Rebecca collapsed to the floor, gasping. But she was different now. She could feel the Void Reaper as if it were part of her own body. Every system, every capability, every ancient secret. They were bound together, human and ship, in a way that had never happened before. The voice spoke one final time, but now it felt like her own thoughts. We are bound. Show me that your species deserves this gift. Show the galaxy what humanity truly is. Rebecca stood on shaking legs and looked out through the ship's sensors at the disabled council fleet. They were terrified, waiting for judgment. She could destroy them all with a thought. Instead, she opened a communication channel. This is Commander Rebecca Torres of Earth speaking for the Void Reaper. Your ships will be restored to full function in 1 hour. Use that time to leave this system. Tell the Council that humanity seeks peace, not war. But we will defend ourselves if attacked again. High Commander Vorn's face appeared on the display, his 4 eyes wide with shock. You're letting us live? We're giving you a choice, Rebecca said. Leave us in peace or learn nothing from this encounter. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been going for 6 hours, and Admiral Krath of the Kryn Dominion had heard enough. On the main viewing screen, footage played again showing the Void Reaper disabling 5,000 Council warships without destroying a single one. The human female who had bonded with the ship spoke calmly about peace and cooperation. Krath wanted to put his fist through the screen. This is weakness, Krath snarled at the assembled council members. His species, the Kryn, had built their empire on strength and conquest. They had never retreated from any species, never shown mercy to those who defied them. The humans humiliated us. They took our most powerful fleet and made us look like helpless children. And you want to negotiate with them? Council Speaker Themos, a frail-looking being from a species that valued diplomacy, raised one of his 6 hands. Admiral, they could have killed us all. They chose not to. Perhaps we should consider their offer of peace. Peace. Krath stood from his seat. The moment humans have the Void Reaper, they have power over every species in this galaxy. Today they disable our weapons. Tomorrow they demand we kneel. This is how empires begin. I say we destroy them now, before they grow stronger. The chamber erupted in argument. Half the council agreed with Krath. The other half believed humanity's restraint proved they were different. Rebecca Torres had become the most talked-about being in the galaxy overnight. Some called her a hero. Others called her a threat that needed to be eliminated. President Webb sat in Earth's government complex, watching the same council broadcast. Beside him stood General Patricia Hunt, commander of Earth's military forces. The situation was getting worse by the hour. Intelligence reports that the Kryn are mobilizing their personal fleet, Hunt said grimly. They're not waiting for council approval. They're going to attack us. Webb rubbed his tired eyes. How many ships? 100. All equipped with planet-killer weapons. If they get through our defenses, Earth becomes a dead rock. Where's Torres? The Void Reaper jumped to the outer rim 3 hours ago. She's demonstrating the ship's capabilities to neutral species, trying to build support for our peace proposal. She's too far away to reach us in time. Webb stood and walked to the window. Outside, he could see people going about their normal lives, completely unaware that war was coming. Get our fleet in position. Every ship we have. If the Kryn want a fight, we'll give them one. Rebecca floated in the Void Reaper's bridge, a space that had transformed itself to accommodate her human needs. Comfortable temperature, breathable air, even a chair that adjusted to her body. The ship had been changing itself slowly, becoming something between alien and human. Through her bond with it, she could feel its curiosity about humanity. Its hope that it had finally found the right species. She was currently at a dead star system, one destroyed in an ancient war centuries ago. Using the Void Reaper's technology, Rebecca was rebuilding it. Barren planets bloomed with engineered life. Shattered moons reformed, their pieces drawn together by gravity manipulation. The entire system was becoming a garden in just hours, a demonstration of what the ship could do beyond warfare. Representatives from 20 neutral species watched from their observation vessels, stunned into silence. This was the message Rebecca wanted to send. The Void Reaper wasn't just a weapon. It was a tool of creation, one that could end the resource wars that plagued the galaxy. Then the emergency transmission hit. Rebecca's connection to Earth's communication network flared with urgent priority signals. She opened the channel and saw General Hunt's face. "Commander Torres, the Kryn Dominion has launched an attack fleet toward Earth. 100 ships carrying planet killers. They'll reach our solar system in 40 minutes. We need the Void Reaper here now." Rebecca's blood went cold. She checked the ship's navigation systems. Even at the Void Reaper's incredible speed, she was 3 hours away from Earth. The Kryn had planned this perfectly. They had waited until she was as far from home as possible. "I'm coming," Rebecca said. "Hold them off as long as you can." She cut the transmission and felt the Void Reaper respond to her panic. The ship wanted to help, but even it couldn't break the laws of physics enough to cross that distance in time. Rebecca would arrive to find either Earth intact or Earth destroyed. There was no middle ground. Through her bond with the ship, Rebecca reached out to Earth's systems. In the weeks since the bonding, she had been carefully transmitting defensive technologies to her homeworld. Nothing aggressive, nothing that could conquer, but shields and countermeasures beyond anything the Council possessed. She had done it quietly, not wanting to alarm anyone or make humanity appear more threatening. Now she prayed it would be enough. The Kryn attack fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Admiral Krath stood on the bridge of his flagship, studying the tactical display. 15 human warships formed a defensive line around Earth. Pathetic. His force would sweep them aside like insects. "All ships prepare planet-killer weapons," Krath ordered. "We'll destroy their fleet first, then crack their world. I want nothing left but debris." His tactical officer suddenly looked up from his console, confusion on his face. "Admiral, we're detecting some kind of energy field around the human ships. It's not matching any known technology. Irrelevant. Fire." The Kryn fleet launched their first wave. Missiles streaked toward the human ships, each one carrying enough explosive power to vaporize a city. Krath watched them close the distance, already planning his victory speech to the Council. Then every missile stopped. They hung in space, frozen against invisible barriers around each human vessel. The missiles detonated harmlessly against shields that shouldn't exist. Energy beams followed, powerful enough to cut through any known armor. They scattered uselessly. Krath grabbed his tactical officer. "What is happening?" "The humans have shield technology we've never seen before. Sir, they're not just blocking our weapons. They're adapting to them. Every shot we fire makes their defenses stronger." On Earth, General Hunt watched the battle displays with amazement. The technology Rebecca had sent them was working better than anyone had hoped. The Kryn fleet was throwing everything at them, and Earth's defenses weren't even straining. "Return fire," Hunt ordered. "Disable their weapons, but don't destroy the ships." Follow Torres's example. Earth's fleet fired. Not the primitive weapons the Kryn expected, but targeting beams that reached into the enemy ships and simply turned off their weapon systems. One by one, Kryn vessels went dark, their crews unharmed, but their ability to fight stripped away. Admiral Krath realized with horror that he had made a terrible mistake. Admiral Krath floated in the silence of his disabled flagship, staring at the tactical display in disbelief. His entire fleet was dead in space, weapons offline, engines barely functioning. Around him, his bridge crew sat in stunned horror. They had come to destroy Earth and instead had been defeated without a single shot damaging their hulls. The humiliation was complete. Then something worse appeared on his sensors. A massive jump signature at the edge of the system. The Void Reaper had arrived. Krath felt his blood turn to ice. The black ship emerged from faster-than-light travel like a predator returning to its kill. It moved through space with that impossible grace, heading straight for his fleet. Rebecca Torres was coming, and she would find her homeworld intact and his forces helpless. He had failed to kill Earth. Now he would face the consequences. The communication channel opened, and Rebecca's face appeared on every Kryn ship simultaneously. She looked tired, but her eyes were hard as steel. "Admiral Krath, you attacked Earth while I was gone. You brought weapons meant to exterminate my entire species. Give me one reason why I shouldn't do the same to yours." Krath said nothing. There was no reason. By every law of warfare, by every standard of justice, he and his crews deserved death. He had gambled that he could wipe out humanity before the Void Reaper returned. He had lost that gamble. Rebecca let the silence stretch for a long moment. Then she spoke again. "Your crews will be taken into custody and returned to the Council for trial. Your ships will be escorted out of this system. And you, Admiral, will carry a message back to anyone else who thinks humanity is an easy target." The view screen shifted to show Earth, whole and beautiful and untouched. "We could have destroyed you. We chose not to. Remember that choice the next time you want to test us." The transmission ended. Krath slumped in his command chair, knowing his military career was over. But he was alive, and so was his crew. The humans had shown mercy again, even to those who came to commit genocide. 3 weeks later, the Galactic Council met again. This time, every species sent their highest representatives. The chamber was packed with beings from hundreds of worlds, all waiting to hear Earth's proposal for a new galactic order. Rebecca stood at the center of the chamber, no longer wearing a military uniform but simple civilian clothes. The Void Reaper waited in orbit above the council station, a silent reminder of the power backing her words. But she wasn't here to threaten. She was here to offer something the galaxy had never truly had before. "Members of the Council," Rebecca began, her voice calm and clear. "Twice now humanity has had the power to destroy those who attacked us. Twice we chose a different path. We're not here to conquer you. We're not here to rule you. We're here to propose a partnership." Council Speaker. Themos leaned forward with interest. "What kind of partnership?" "The Void Reaper's technology will be shared with the galaxy," Rebecca said. "Slowly, carefully, but shared. Species that prove they'll use it for creation rather than destruction will gain access to knowledge that can solve your resource conflicts, end your territorial wars, and open up parts of the galaxy you thought were unreachable." Admiral Krath, sitting in the section reserved for those awaiting trial, couldn't stay silent. "And who decides which species are worthy? You, the humans? This is just another form of control." Rebecca turned to face him directly. "No. Every species that receives the technology will have a representative bond with one of the Architect ships. There are more vessels like the Void Reaper hidden across the galaxy. We found 3 already. Each one will test potential partners the same way I was tested. The ships themselves will judge worthiness, not humanity." The chamber erupted in shocked conversation. More ships like the Void Reaper existed. The implications were staggering. "We're proposing a new galactic alliance," Rebecca continued once the noise died down. "One where species contribute based on their strengths instead of their military power. Where conflicts are resolved through cooperation instead of conquest. Where the goal is mutual survival instead of domination." The debate lasted for hours. Some species embraced the idea immediately. Others resisted, afraid of losing their current positions of power. But slowly, gradually, the momentum shifted. Too many had seen what humanity could have done with the Void Reaper's power. Too many realized that if humans wanted to conquer, they already would have. The vote was called. It passed by a narrow margin, but it passed. The new Galactic Alliance was born, with humanity not as rulers, but as the bridge builders who had proven a different path was possible. Rebecca became the Alliance's first explorer, traveling the galaxy in the Void Reaper to find other ancient ships and help integrate new species peacefully. Over the next 5 years, 3 more Architect vessels were discovered and bonded with representatives from species that passed their tests. A Vryn scientist who valued knowledge over war. A Talmarath philosopher who understood that strength came from unity. A young Kryn warrior who had learned from Admiral Krath's failure that true power lay in restraint. The galaxy didn't transform overnight. There were still conflicts, still species that chose violence, still wars in distant sectors. But humanity had shown that another way was possible. and others began to follow that example. Rebecca stood on the Void Reaper's bridge 10 years after the first bonding, looking out at a galaxy that had changed. She had watched friends age while she remained the same, had attended funerals for people she loved, had felt the loneliness of her extended life. But she had also seen humanity grow from a threatened species into respected members of a true galactic community. The ship's consciousness touched her mind gently. Ready for the next journey? New distress signals were always coming in. Species that needed help. Conflicts that needed mediation. Another ancient architect's ship had been detected at the edge of known space, waiting for someone worthy to find it. Rebecca smiled, feeling the familiar excitement of discovery. Always. The Void Reaper jumped to faster-than-light travel, not as a weapon of terror, but as a symbol of hope. The dangerous starship that had rejected every species for 10,000 years had finally found what it was searching for. Not a master, not a warrior, not a conqueror. It had found a partner. It had found humanity. And together they were showing the galaxy that power without wisdom was just destruction. But wisdom was knowing when not to use power at all. The black ship disappeared into the stars, carrying Rebecca Torres toward the next adventure, the next species to help, the next chance to prove that the galaxy could be better than it had been. Behind her, Earth thrived. Humanity flourished. And the legend of the human who tamed the Void Reaper spread to every corner of known space. The galaxy would never be the same.